They called me the widow with no name, no husband, no sons, no voice. In a world where women without men were barely seen, let alone heard, I was supposed to fade into silence. But I couldn't. Not when injustice knocked on my door. My husband had died some years back. He was a good man, respected, kind, God-fearing. He left me a little land, some dignity, and the hope that life would still be kind. But when he passed, that hope began to wither. A relative, greedy and cruel, claimed my inheritance. Said it was his by right. I had no money to fight him, no man to speak for me. But what I had was the fire of a woman wronged and the boldness of a heart that refused to be broken. There was a judge in our town. He was infamous, a man who neither feared God nor regarded people. He cared only for himself, his comfort, his coin, and his status. They said he only heard cases if you paid him. But I had nothing to offer him except my persistence. So I showed up. The first day, I stood before him, trembling but determined. "Your Honor," I said, "grant me justice against my adversary." He didn't even look at me, just waved me off like a fly. The second day, I returned. "Justice, my lord. Hear my case." He ignored me again. Third day, fourth day, fifth. I stood at the city gates where he held court. I followed him down the street. I waited outside his home. Morning, noon, evening, grant me justice. I cried until my voice grew hoarse. People laughed. "She's mad," they whispered. "She'll get nowhere." But I didn't care. I wasn't fighting for sympathy. I was fighting for justice. Days turned into weeks. Still I came, until one morning, as the sun rose behind him, he glared at me from his seat and said, "Though I do not fear God or care what people think, this woman is wearing me out. I will see that she gets justice, so she won't eventually come and attack me." I nearly collapsed. My knees buckled, not from exhaustion, but from relief. He ruled in my favor that very day, not because he cared about truth, not because he had compassion, but because I was relentless. Later, I heard a teacher named Jesus speak. He told my story to a crowd of followers. He said, "Listen to what the unjust judge says. Will not God bring about justice for his chosen ones who cry out to him day and night? Will he keep putting them off? I tell you, he will see that they get justice, and quickly." Tears filled my eyes. If even a cold-hearted, self-centered judge could be moved by persistence, how much more will our God, righteous, kind, and merciful, respond to the cries of his children? So now I speak, not as a nameless widow, but as a symbol of every woman who has been silenced, ignored, dismissed. You may not have gold or power or influence, but if you have faith, if you have persistence, if you refuse to stop praying, believing, and fighting for what's right, then justice will find you. I am the widow who would not give up. And because I didn't, I won.